Have you ever played a Pokemon game and just realized you never explored the whole game, and the more you think about it, you just realized all you ever done was what you were supposed to do and nothing else? Like never going to the Sevy Islands, the power plant, Mount Ember, or just going to places you couldn't access before because you didn't have the HM for it. Like, how much did I miss out on, or did I not miss out on anything? Does it make the game more refreshing to go back to and play? So as I keep thinking about it, let's find out and try to explore Kanto for the first time. Now, my first goal is to talk to every NPC I can find. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be showing you every person I talk to, but I will talk about the NPC that says something I didn't know about or I just found them interesting. For trainers, I probably will just mention if they had a unique Pokemon or just a Pokemon I'm just not used to seeing. My second goal is to collect as many items as I can, just because when I usually play the game, I never pick up any of the items unless I know I need them, so I just want to see what items I was missing out on. Now that does mean any real useful items I probably won't talk about just because I already know about them, but I might talk about it if I have a story to tell. My last goal is to explore the whole game and just look everywhere. No guides, no YouTube, just me in the game. So if I miss items or people or areas, it's just part of the experience. So with that, we grab a Squirtle that I named Sir Turtle and start the search, and the only thing in Pallet Town that I want to talk about is Gary's sister, who gives us a map. And I don't know about you guys, but I never grab it. To me, it's always so bare bones, I don't really see the point of looking at it, but I just want to mention it because I never grab it. On Route 22, we catch a Mankey that I named Sir Ape and face Gary, and since I was really low leveled, I got whooped real bad. Alright, I'll remember that. After that, I just caught some Pokemon, as we're gonna need a couple of them for some items we can get later. But we finally have something to talk about, as in Pewter City, if you go to the Pokemon Center and talk to this Jigglypuff, it actually sings, which is super surprising because usually when you click on any Pokemon, all you hear is them screeching, so that was nice. And I think Jigglypuff is the only one to do that, which sucks a little. We also talked to this guy who's on the phone talking about Team Rocket, and that surprised me. I just thought they popped up in the cave. Other than that, I actually looked around the museum and saw the full skeleton of the fossil Pokemon, so that was interesting. But other than that, we faced Brock, who didn't stand a chance, as Sir Ape and Sir Turtle were wiping everything. I also went back to Route 22, and you best believe I got my rematch and won. Yeah, that's right, I didn't forget. After that, we just caught some more Pokemon here and there, where we catch our next member, Geodude, that I named Sir Rock. Also at Mount Moon, we can get a rare candy, and I don't know about you guys, but I usually collect all of them, so when I need to evolve a high level Pokemon, I just spam rare candies to make it evolve. Also, Sir Turtle evolved into a War Turtle. Once we make it out of the cave, there's a hidden Great Ball here, and it did take me a minute to find because I just couldn't remember where it was. There's also these two brothers who could teach our Pokemon Mega Punch and Mega Kick, and for the longest time I never used them because of their low accuracy, but after doing my first ever Pokemon that I never used before video, I taught Mega Punch to Clefable and it changed my life. So if it's 80 accuracy, it might as well be 100. So you know how that went. In Cerulean City, there's this house to the left near Nugget Bridge where this old man asked us if we had a berry. I didn't, but I said yes anyway, and he caught on to my lie and told me to come back when I do. And I wasn't sure how I was going to get one, but then I remembered that one of the Pokemon that I caught had one, so I stole it from them and talked to the old man again, where he gives us a powder jar and told me at the Poke Center they just added a wireless adapter to crush some berries. Yeah, I can't do that. It was so cool at first, and I can't even do it. What a waste of time. On Route 24-25, we just catch some more Pokemon and Mega Punch everyone in sight, but I did find this unique patch of grass that I never noticed before, but looking at it now, there's obviously something there. It's like a darker squiggly line, and it turns out to be a berry. I found another one, and we got another berry, so I'm assuming if we see one of these, they're just gonna be different types of berries. With that, we faced Misty, and it was super easy as we used Mega Punch and Bite to knock them out. On Route 5, we catch two Meowths with the ability pickup because they could give us nuggets and stuff, but for the most part, I thought this was the only way to get berries, and I'm just curious to see what else we can get. And probably at the end of the video, I'll show all the berries I got, because I think that'd be kind of cool. On Route 6, we find a citrus berry because I saw the squiggly line again, and also a trainer with a Squirtle. And I never realized that some of these trainers had starter Pokemon, besides that one lady at the rock tunnel that has a Bulbasaur. In Vermilion City, there's nothing new, but I do have something funny to say about the Versus Seeker that you can get at the Poke Center. And for the longest time, I never talked to the lady to get the item, but I remember when I did grab it, I was like, whoa, you can rematch trainers. So I went to go face Misty again, and it didn't work, and I never used it again. At the SS Anne, it had been so long since I've explored this place that I honestly forgot what was even here. We found like 2 TMs, but the more interesting one was Brick Break, and I can't believe they gave us this item so early into the game. We also find a potion and an ether, and since we were facing so many trainers, our Meows gave us a couple items, but the really cool ones were a rare candy and TM 10. I had no idea that it could give us a whole TM, and my mind was blown. We also hear about Snorlax, and all it does is eat and sleep, and that sounds a little too familiar. Anyways, I thought that was really interesting. Like, imagine playing this game for the first time and being like, whoa, where can I find one of those? But now that I think about it, they kind of did that with the fossil Pokemon before you realize that you can revive them. After that, we beat up Gary again, where we could get the HM cut, where we can finally backtrack to some areas. But before we do, we face Lieutenant Surge, but Sir Rock wasn't playing any games, beating all of them up. With that, we head back to Pewter City and head to the other side of the museum, and I actually didn't know you could have Aerodactyl until a couple years ago, so that was something. There's also a guy here that can teach our Pokemon Seismic Toss, and I didn't realize there was people who could teach our Pokemon moves besides that one lady who could give us Hydro Cannon. We also go back to Route 25 and we get the TM43 being superpower, so honestly, I wasn't missing much with this one. And on Route 9, I haven't really been to this top area where this grass is, but it turns out it was nothing. But we did find a trainer with a Beedrill and a Charmander, so you don't see that every day. On Route 10, I just want to point out I missed out on like 2 berries. But other than that, there's this water path you can take to the power plant, and this is one of those places that I forget to go back to, because at that point in the game, I'm doing something else and I just completely forget about it. But it's not like I haven't been there before, I just haven't gotten all the items. In Rock Tunnel, we find Repels, Max Ether, a Pearl, but I will say, after talking to everyone in the cave, we come across this guy who teaches us Rock Slide. Now that's a really cool move. I was thinking about teaching it to someone, but I figured I'll just wait until we get the rest of our team because I really didn't know what I was going to use. And since we faced so many trainers, Sir Ape evolved into a Primeape, and we also saw a Charmander. On Route 12, if we head up this building, this lady will tell us that her Pokemon's ashes are stored in the Pokemon Tower, and that she doesn't need this TM anymore, being returned. Now that's just sad. On a lighter note, on Route 8, we can get more berries, catch new Pokemon, and skip all the trainers for now. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was getting tired of fighting all these trainers. In Celadon City, we get another member being Eevee that I named Sir Dog. We're gonna evolve it to a Jolteon, but we're gonna wait until it learns Bite, and we're gonna use the trainers on Route 8 to train. But before we did that, we went ahead and faced Erica, and I was worried at first as we didn't have any good matchups to face her. But that's when I remembered we have Aerial Ace, so I just taught that to Sir Ape and destroyed her. And not too long after that, Sir Dog learned Bite and we evolved him. So going back to exploring, at the top of the department store, if we give this little girl some water, soda, some lemonade, she gives us TMs like Reflect and Light Screen. Unfortunately, I forgot to record, but everything you need is right there, so yeah. I also found out that there's some Team Rocky Grunts in a certain house where one of them says they just shipped 2,000 more Pokemon at slot prices at the game corner, which is wild. So now I'm wondering how much money they made so far, and is that the reason why these Pokemon are harder to find? That's crazy. Anyways, we need a Pokemon to take out Koga as I didn't have that many good options for him. So I decided I was going to use an Abra, but I already traded mine for a Mr. Mime. But you know what if I head to the game corner, pick up all the coins that people have dropped, and then get an Abra from the game corner? I'm not helping, am I? After dealing with all that, we head to Route 16 and wake up Snorlax, but it wouldn't stay in the ball, so we had to leave, shaking my head. Well, we got another shot, so I guess it's okay. We go to the bike trail, and besides this top area, I haven't gone anywhere else, and it was a good thing I didn't, because this was a waste of time. All it was some water, a little bit of trainers, and just getting tired of the controls. We do head back to the top and go inside this building for the amulet coin, but it turns out we don't have enough Pokemon because you need 40 and I had 34, so we'll come back for that later because I need money for Thunderbolt. In Fuchsia City, I actually went to the zoo and looked for like 2 minutes, but there was a guy who can teach substitute, but that's lame, so I left. In the Safari Zone, they had some really good items like max revives and potions, but we also got 3 TMs, but Steel Wing was probably the one I'll actually use. Other than that, we got some more Pokemon, and I wanted a lucky egg for our last Pokemon, and I spent 3.5 hours trying to catch one Chansey. It was rough. I ended up catching one, but it didn't have it. To say I was butthurt was an understatement. So we go ahead and face Koga, and it was rough as when Psychic didn't KO, Muck destroyed Kadabra, and since I didn't have a good counter to his team, we lost half of our Pokemon because they were all super fragile, but after that, we win the fight. On Route 15, I find the TM for Rain Dance and face a crazy amount of trainers, going all the way up to Route 14. There's also a Snorlax here, so we catch that, and we also surf to get the TM skill swap, so another thing I was not missing out on. With that, we head to the power plant and get the TMs for Thunder and some elixirs, but I thought we could get an item to boost the electric type moves, but I'm not sure if this game has one. We also saw a yellow bird, but that's none of my business. I go ahead and get that amulet coin I wanted and head straight to Cinnabar Island to revive Aerodactyl that I named Surf Flying Rock. I looked at the level and cried a little bit. That lucky egg would have been nice. And yes, I'm still butthurt about it. So I got the XP share instead, and with that we head to Saffron City and head straight to Silph Co, as it's the only place we need to search. And honestly, I really didn't know how I was going to go about it. I literally just went to the first floor and went through everything I could. And for the warp holes, I would fully explore that area as well. And once I was done, I went right back to the floor I started on, took the stairs to the next floor, and did it all over again. We ended up finding a lot of proteins, irons, carbos, PP ups, HP ups, and a bunch of different healing items. But probably the one that I found the most interesting was the TM bulk up, and I didn't know you could learn this move in this game, and I don't know why, but every time I think about it, I just think of Brawly. We also find a lady who teaches us Thunder Wave, but I'm not teaching that to anybody. We also learned there's about 350 Pokemon moves so far, and it's only Gen 3. How many moves are there now? And I wonder how many I can actually name. Anyways, we faced Giovanni, but since we had a counter to all of his Pokemon, we beat him with ease. Also want to talk about how Surf Flying Rock started from level 5 and now it's at 29. Just from facing all the trainers at Silph Co. That's impressive. With that, we could face Sabrina and we just use Sir Turtle and Sir Dog and spam Bite to knock out her team. We go to Cinnabar Island and head to the Pokemon Mansion, but all we find is someone who has a Charmeleon, so we go ahead and face Blaine, and Sir Turtle took out the whole gym. Now that we've beaten Blaine, Bill invites us to one island, and since I did a video completing the Pokédex, I've mostly explored the islands already, so now I'm just seeing what I missed. On one island, we head to Mount Ember, and as soon as you get there, there's this guy who can teach your Pokemon Explosion, so there's that. We also find Moltres, but again, that's none of my business. And that's it. I don't think we're gonna find anything cool until like 5 Island, but we can't go there just yet. On 2 Island, we could go to this house with the purple roof where you can talk to a mover learner, and that blew my mind. There were so many moves I accidentally deleted, and you're telling me if I actually just said yes to Bill, I could have gotten the move back? I'm stressed. You need 2 tiny mushrooms and 1 big one, but of course, I thought I wasn't gonna need it, so I sold it a while back. I'll come back, I swear. Other than that, we get Hydro Cannon. On 3 Island, we can find a bunch of berries in the berry forest, but I only ended up finding 3. I don't want to talk about it. So after finishing up the story, we head back to Kanto, and near Seafoam Island, the item finder actually worked for once. I just now decided to use it. We find some Stardust, so that's not bad. With that, we head inside Seafoam Island, but it turns out we can't explore it just yet, as Surf is not cutting it, so we'll come back later. So we go ahead and face our last gym leader, Giovanni, and I'm sure you know how that went. Surf everything in sight. And just cause we can, we use Hydro Cannon to beat his last 2 Pokemon, and we didn't miss. What did I say? If it's 80, it might as well be 100. We also fight Gary again, and he got tired of getting whooped, because once he sent out Venusaur, they used Growth, and not even Reflect would save our Pokemon because most of them are made out of paper. but after taking half of our team, we finally knock out Venusaur with a couple bites and thunderbolts, and the rest of his team were no problem. In Victory Road, we got some TMs like Sandstorm and Hail, and a bunch of healing items, and since I wasn't using any rare candies, well, more like cheated in rare candies, I went ahead and did some regular training and a little bit of EV training before we got started. With that, we faced the Elite Four, starting off with Lorelei. Sir Dog was playing no games, taking out most of her Pokemon with no trouble at all. But once we got confused by Lapras, that changed real quick as we kept hitting ourselves and we were taking massive damage against Ice Beam, where we finally land Thunderbolt to knock them out. Her last Pokemon was Jinx, but Shadow Ball wasn't enough, so after we go down, we send out Sir Turtle to knock them out. Next is Bruno, and with Sir Flying Rock, we were struggling to one-shot anything, so we were slowly taking damage, and once Machamp took a wing attack and lived, they used Bulk Up and ate a berry, so next turn we couldn't knock them out and we go down. But after that, we sent out Sir Ape and started putting in some crazy work, as the rest of his team couldn't stand a chance. And the best part is, for his last Pokemon, we used 2 Cross Chops in a row to win the fight, and that's right, it never missed, because if it's 80, it might as well be 100. Next is Agatha, and it was pretty smooth selling until Arbok one-shotted Kadabra, and then I was a little concerned. But after sending out Sir Turtle, we take them out, and her next Pokemon being Gengar was annoying, as they put us to sleep and did massive damage, so we eventually go down. But that's when Sir Dog came in and used Bite to beat the rest of her team. With that, we faced our last Elite Four member, Lance, but honestly, it was really drawn out as it took forever to take down both of his Dragonairs. But once he sent out his last Dragonite, we were having problems as he was spamming Outrage, taking out our team slowly. But once Sir Rock came in and did most of the work, Sir Flying Rock came in to finish the job. With that, we can face the champion Gary, but since I had a counter to his team, we had no problem taking any of his Pokemon down, becoming the new champion, and with that, we got some more places to explore, so let's get started. It turns out Professor Oak won't let us do the post game until we have 60 Pokemon, but luckily for us, we were already catching Pokemon as we were playing the game, so I just grabbed the ones that needed stone evolutions, and 2 minutes later we were heading right back to the Sevy Islands. On 5 Island, there's a water area that we can surf to called Memorial Pillar, and at first all we did was fight some trainers, but it turns out there's something else further down, and it was a guy looking at a pile of rocks. He tells me that my Pokemon look healthy, and this is where he buried his Onix. Oh. Going back to the main island, we can actually surf our way up, and I headed left first where we can get an egg, and I wonder what it could be. Maybe a Larvitar? I mean, that'd be kinda cool. Anything but a Togepi egg. We also fight a trainer with a Marill, and for the longest time I thought Marill was from Ruby and Sapphire, so I thought I mentioned that because that's kind of funny. I also want to mention I was using a Repel the whole time, so I actually didn't see what other Gen 2 Pokemon we can get, so that's my bad. Alright, going right this time, we head to a place called Resort Gorgeous, where we fight some trainers who give really good money if you're using an amulet coin. There was also this big house plopped right in the middle, but there was no one inside, so now I'm a little confused why it's there. It also turns out there's another little area called the Lost Cave, but I must be too dumb, as I kept running into the same 2 people, but I did find a Sea and Lax instance. And yeah, honestly, I didn't know how far one of the islands can expand. On 6th Island, I really didn't find anything besides me still having to go up the water path just to see if there's something there. It was kind of hard to tell by first glance as I was moving my way down the whole time, and we ended up facing a bunch of trainers and also doing the story, so I just went ahead and finished it up on another island. With that, we can head to the 7th island, which is a total mystery to me, and there's this lady outside who says the real reason that it's called the Sevy Islands was because it is said to have been made in 7 days, which sounds way better than being called that because there's 7 islands. But yeah, I wonder who or what made that happen. Also, this guy inside the Poke Center said there's about 10 of the boats that take us to and from the Sevy Islands, and I did not know that. We also find someone who could teach us Swords Dance, which is always good to know, but again, I'm not using it. Not too long after, the egg hatched, but it was just a Togepi. Lame. At the Savant Canyon, we find a couple items like a Nugget, King's Rock, and Lucky Punch. There's also a cave near the entrance, but I figured I might as well explore this whole area first before I go into a cave, and honestly, it was just a straight path going down, and we fight a bunch of trainers with Pokemon you don't see every day like Tauros, Ursaring, Hitmontop, Girafarig. We also end up finding a place called Tanobi Ruin, but there's just a bunch of caves that have stones that don't say anything. But it was kind of creepy if you ask me, but I spent a while clicking around and not finding anything, so I just headed back to the main island. This time I head up and find the trainer tower, but since I really suck at battling, I faced about 4 trainers before I called it quits. With that, we have fully explored Kanto, so the big question is, what's in our bag, what Pokemon do we have, and how long did it take? Let's start with held items. We got the Black Glasses, Charcoal, Mystic Water, Never Melt Ice, Quick Claw, Lucky Punch, and Leftovers. Honestly, I don't have that many held items, and I wonder if it's because you can only get certain items from wild Pokemon or something, but yeah, nothing crazy. We also got some really useful ones like the Amulet Coin and the Macho Brace. Going on to other items, we got some pearls and nuggets, and I was selling these left and right, so I wonder how many I actually collected. We also had a bunch of evolution stones, but we used most of them to get to the post game. In our berry pouch, most of these berries came from Meowth, and we got some I never heard before. We got a repair berry, a Durin berry, and a berry I don't know how to say. In our TM case, we got all the 8 Chims and a good chunk of TMs, but all the really useful ones are either on my Pokemon or I got rid of them for a better move. Moving on to our PC, we also don't have much going on, and it looks pretty sad if you ask me, but all I really did was catch everything I could in the beginning routes, as you can see, and it worked pretty well for me. I think I stopped catching as many Pokemon once we reached Celadon City, and with that, it took us 31 hours and 18 minutes to fully explore Kanto. And wait a minute, I forgot about Seafoam Island and Cerulean City. And how did I forget about the move tutor? I can't believe I forgot about that. Let's do that real quick. So as I go to Seafoam Island and Cerulean Cave, it didn't take that long to explore, nor did we find any cool items, so yeah. In any case, let's go visit that move tutor. Now unfortunately, we don't really need the move tutor anymore, so yeah, but I guess it was kind of cool to look at. Overall, I think it was really nice to change up the pace and just see what Leaf Green had to offer. And even though it wasn't anything crazy, just seeing new locations really was just refreshing to see. But I will say, a lot of the things you could do and get in the post game just felt like you needed someone to trade with, so it kinda sucked. With that, if you like this video and want to see more stuff like this, like and subscribe as it really helps out the channel. And thank you so much for all the support, and I hope you have a great day, and until next time, see ya.